When the spirit world work with us, there's so much they want to say. They want to talk about not just themselves. Obviously, they want to describe themselves because that's how then they can be identified, particularly if it's in an environment that's in a large theatre or a hall or something. They've got to give enough information that identifies themselves. So they will talk about their appearance, they will give information about their passing and aspects of events leading to that. They will give expressions of their own humour and quite often come in with funny memories because I think they want to bring a little bit of laughter and make people smile. As well as obviously they will be touched by emotion, which needless to say can create tears, but hopefully they're happy tears. But I think they also want to make people aware that they're talking to of the events that have been happening. Things that have happened since they've passed that they want to acknowledge. Maybe a baby has been born and they want to acknowledge, you know, the joy of the addition to the new family. They want to wish someone a happy birthday because it's around that time when they have the opportunity to communicate with whoever it is that they're speaking to. There's always this question of why do they give a lot of information about the very end of their life, because that seems to be quite a common thing. People will give details around their passing, maybe the time, maybe who was with them, whether they were on their own. And I feel a lot of that is because that's one of our last memories with them. And so it's not that they want to dwell on that, but that is in the physical world, that's our last memory of them. But then quite often you will find that even if they go into great detail in that respect, they will always then want to turn it and bring it back to the humorous side because their existence just isn't all about their passing. So they will want to talk about maybe those things that we as human beings and as individuals, and certainly people that are hoping and wishing for a message, and those signs, those things that have happened. Is that fate? Is that coincidence? Is it because it's a sign from my mum in the spirit world? Did that coin that I found on the floor yesterday come as a gift from them? Or was that just a random thing that I noticed? When I cleaned my house completely and then I went back into my bedroom and in the middle of the carpet on the floor there's a big white feather. Was that from them or was it just because I fluffed the pillows in the wrong way? So there will always be things that they will want to acknowledge and recognise as to things that they're trying to present us in a physical way. Maybe to validate things that have happened. And I suppose put people's minds at rest that they're not going mad and it's happened because it's been an intention of the spirit world and not necessarily because it's been a real want and need of the people here, hoping to hear from their loved ones. I think also it's quite interesting that you could do two lists. You could do a list of, as a working medium, all the things that you want to say on behalf of the spirit world to prove their identity, to prove their existence, to prove their information. But I think if you're in the spirit world, it'll probably be a very different list because they won't necessarily want to give all the detail of themselves. In their eyes, I'm sure, well, you know who I am, you know what my name is, you know what day I passed, you know how I passed. And so I feel they come with a much greater need to express their love. They come with a need to express their love, express the memories they've shared, to bring some smiles and some laughter, to talk about who they are with, because I think there's always this need in the physical world to understand who's there with them. Especially people that have lost children, because they need to understand who met them, who's taking care of them, who's looking after them on my behalf. And I think that's always something that comes through quite strongly, particularly for myself if I'm working with children from the spirit world. It's always that identification of family members that are there that just helps put those parents' minds at rest, that it's their wish, I hope they're with my mum, or I hope it's my grandmother or my father looking after them if they've already gone to the spirit world prior to their child passing. And so that tends to be a great need of the spirit world, to put people's minds at rest, that they can just have that comfort and just have that knowing that their family unit are very much together. Because I think we talk about the need of people here wanting to hear from their loved ones and their family and their friends, but there's as equal a need in the spirit world. Maybe who we want to hear from here is not necessarily the person that will come through, because sometimes it could be someone else that has a greater need to say something. So I feel that we do tend to focus on the need of people in the living world, but we have to give some acknowledgement and some understanding to the need of those in the other world, because sometimes their need is greater for a different reason. Maybe there is just a particular message they've not had the opportunity of bringing through, something that they feel very strongly about expressing. And that sometimes comes through in a stronger way. I would say, though, that some people, when they're going for readings, whether it be in a one-to-one situation or whether it be in a large environment, in a public demonstration, there's this disappointment if they're hoping for mum and nan or great-gran comes through. And therefore, there's this almost like mental switch off. It's not going to happen. And sometimes the first communicator is not always the person that will stay the whole duration that a medium is working. Maybe it's the grandmother that comes in first to set the scene, maybe, just have her say, just to express her love and acknowledge things. And then all of a sudden she may be what we would call the initiator, the person that starts the process, the person that helps the medium get into the space to feel mum much easier or dad much easier. And so sometimes the person that we really, really hope to hear from is not always the first person that comes through. So I just want to open people's minds to that, because, just consider that there's always someone else that can have the opportunity. And not every medium can work, or their energies will blend as easily with every person in the spirit world. And maybe that medium's not the medium for them. In the physical world, we get to know people very easily sometimes. We can have a 5-minute conversation with them and feel very at ease and feel like we know them as if we've met them, 2 years ago and not 5 minutes ago. And other people, it takes a little bit longer just to gel with and just to sort of feel that we're comfortable with. And that's no different when you're working with the spirit world. So there will be people that have never had a message from someone, but it doesn't mean to say that they don't want to come through, they don't want to talk to them. It's maybe because they've not been in the right environment, they've not been accessible to the right medium where their energy is as compatible with the medium that's working. So it's based on a lot of things, but it's not because they don't want to come. They just haven't found the right space to work.